Welcome to the Vedic Intelligence Report. My name is Sitapati Das.
And my name is Dana Devi.
This is our new show that we're starting today on the Vaishnava Voices channel. It's called the Vedic Intelligence Report. This is a show where we report on and comment on current news, topics of interest, viral videos, the latest gossip and news from a Vedic perspective. Anything you want to say about that?
To see what happens.
Yeah, why is this connection is unstable? Okay. Let us now then switch to I'm going to switch to the phone, my phone connection, because it says it's unstable. Hey, Isha, can you unplug this for me here, please? Thanks.
Unplug what from me?
Yeah, unplug this this thing here. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Disconnect these things in order to plug this one in. So we're going to just change our network here, and that may cause it to drop out for a second. It may not. Difficult to say, really. Okay, let's plug that in. And then we can go to in here. Personal hotspot is turned on. Let's see what happens if we do this. Change to another network. No, it's all good. Okay, so we got a rock solid, super fast connection right now with hundreds of megabits per second. I don't know why this thing says its connection's fairly good. There we go. Very, very good. Okay, so today we're going to cover a couple of things. We got one of our correspondents, Paul Seils, dialing in from Australia. But top of the news, of course, is, in my phone, I have 2 news searches saved, and I've had these in here for the last 3 years. This is what I've been watching. Okay, you don't know about this, but I'm about to show you the intimate secrets of what's in my phone browser. Actually, I'll get you to read them out. Oh, no, you might not be able to. Can you read that?
Aliens.
And this one?
South China Sea.
South China Sea and aliens. So I have just a one-click search for aliens. And what I'm looking for there is, and it's a news search. So it searches news sites for aliens. And I just keep an eye on that because I've been conscious of the have you heard of Project Bluebeam before? No? Okay. Well, let's lead with the news from today. Here's recent news stories in the last sort of 24 hours, couple of days, 24 to 48 hours. Las Vegas man describes terrifying experience of seeing UFO in the night sky and 10-foot aliens in his backyard. Las Vegas police officer's body cam captures UFO in the night sky. Crashed Las Vegas UFO witness, terrified by 8-foot creatures in his backyard, 100% not human. What does Las Vegas mean?
It's a desert, isn't it? There's a lot of music going on. Lots of gambling.
It is, but it's a Spanish name, right? Las Vegas.
Las Vegas is
¿Qué es una
it's
Vega?
a last name. It's a last name. Las
Vegas?
Yeah.
Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a last name.
It's Las Vegas. In Los Angeles, Las Vegas. So which one of these is going to be a good one to have a look at? It's New York Post, LA Times. Let's have a look at the LA Times story. They're 100% not human. Las Vegas police investigate reports of extraterrestrial sightings. Big shiny eyes, towering 10 feet tall, 100% not human aliens. It's funny how, they went from like Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, grainy kind of footage in some subreddit to the front page of the news, and days after this whistleblower comes out to blow the whistle on the UFO programs. earlier today we were listening to a body language expert analyzing the body language of this military whistleblower. His name's Dave Grush, something like that.
Didn't pick up last names.
Yeah. So, apparently the LA, I keep saying LA, the Las Vegas, the LV police department. Okay.
I'm just laughing.
Okay. I thought you were someone with a 10-foot alien was coming in the door or something. I was like, what? An 8 foot, 10 foot.
My friend, you arrived.
Yeah. So, they're like, someone saw a UFO, people reporting UFOs. Someone reports that it crashes. Oh, Isha, apparently it says the weekend starts Wednesday. That's when this thing just popped up on the screen.
Oh my God.
Isha and Prahlad were arguing about whether the week starts on Sunday or Monday. Cast your votes in the comments. Achutananda, welcome.
If you guys have the right one, I swear to Jesus, I'll turn up to your house with a very nice teddy bear in my hand.
Okay, there you go. So you could win a teddy bear from Isha if you get the right answer or the wrong one.
No explosives included.
Achutananda Prabhu from the UK. Is that where you're calling in from? Where you're watching from? Says, I bet you a Mr. Vegas built Las Vegas, named after the guy. Body camera footage from an officer with the LV Metropolitan Police captured a bright glowing object cutting through the sky, according to local TV channel 8 News Now. About 40 minutes later, a local resident placed a 911 call to report that something 100% not human was staring at him from his backyard shortly after he and his family saw an object fall from the sky, the station reported. They just need to keep pummeling people with the stuff because people are like, oh, this is crazy, it's nuts, Huddy bol. It's crazy, it's nuts, until you get like desensitized to it, They've shifted the needle on UFOs and aliens from like, bat shizzle crazy to like, they rebranded them as UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon. They, they did like a Defense Department or a congressional inquiry or something like that. And then they revealed that, we believe it's a credible national security threat, and now they're falling out of the sky, and then the police are filming them, apparently.
Interesting times.
Yeah. Project Bluebeam. So Project Bluebeam is this idea that in order to bring in the satanic one world government, they fake an alien invasion. Yeah. And that they prepare people's brains for it by bringing out all these movies, time and time again. So many movies to prepare people's thinking about the aliens, and that there's going to be like holographic projections. And the other thing that happens is like a simulcast in each person's individual language that goes inside their skull, Maybe some tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists out there will say that the 5G masts are capable of doing that. I don't know. We've got one of Australia's and definitely the world's premier anti-5G activist from way back. He's retired now, focused on health and music. Paul Seils calling in to talk about Dr. Rashid Buttar, who recently passed away, I think. Let me check if that's actually a thing, like it's been reported that he has, but did he really, has he faked his death? It's foreshadowing the next segment anyway. Dr. Rashid Buttar. I've got to move this microphone because it's like right in front of my keyboard. May 18th, 2023. So he was an American conspiracy theorist, an anti-vaxxer, and a licensed osteopathic physician. My goodness, how this has become a thing. That's what he's known for. He's known. Will my Wikipedia article say that I was a conspiracy theorist? Is that like the top thing for me?
Mm-hmm.
This guy, that was he's known for conspiracy theories and anti-vaccine. Okay. Anyway, he died May 23, and Paul Seals spent some time with him in the US. But back to the aliens thing. I mean, if we do kind of like a news search for aliens, right? And let's see what we can find out about this. I just watched this news search in DuckDuckGo, just to see what they're talking about, and every now and then I'll post things into different groups that I'm in. Aliens among us. So these are about Las Vegas. Aliens lurking at the heart of the Milky Way. Here are all the reasons why aliens probably exist. Science fiction from Latin America with zombie dissidents and aliens in the Amazon. That sounds cool. They're not human. Police get call about aliens in backyard minutes after seeing light in the sky. Astronomers use supernovas to establish connection with aliens. Blue UFO spot on a body cam. Did aliens just photobomb the UK air show? UFO investigator makes sensational claim. Most aliens may be artificial intelligence, not life as we know it. Nobody at this point has definitive proof of UFOs or aliens. That's a real interesting one, that one, right?
Mhm.
It's kind of like, this is how they get it into people's head over time, you know?
Mm.
It's like aliens could reply to signals, and they just keep speculatively putting stuff about aliens out there. Aliens at the center of the Milky Way. Then they put stuff like, you know, when they say this, nobody at this point has definitive proof of UFOs or aliens. NASA UAP panel member. You know, like that nobody has definitive proof of it really says, you know, that it's kind of like the only thing that's missing is the definitive proof.
Right, they will knock your door and suck your brain.
Exactly.
That's the proof.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, nobody has definitive proof about it. So there was this, and there was the whistleblower. I'm just going to take the role of a conspiracy theorist here. As difficult as that is for me to do. But, you know, all of the media, the news, it's a psychological operation on humanity. That's what's going on there. There's this great verse in the Bhagavatam. Let me see if I can find it. Database.io. And then the other thing that we should have a look at here is this Alien Identities. It's the name of the book. Online database. Search. Pretty sure there's two searches. There's World of Names in here. Don't hate on me because I'm using the second edition database here. The World of Names, and it's in the filter by hierarchy Srimad Bhagavatam. While in the World of Names, okay, 223. So that's not it. It's reacts like a boat on water. No, I should have looked up the verse before the show. But anyway, it's a verse that says, whatever you seek to describe without reference to Krishna or to the absolute truth, simply acts to, let's have a look, describe without reference, simply acts to agitate the mind. Yeah, here we go. 1:5:14. Whatever you desire to describe that is separate in vision from the Lord simply reacts with different forms, names, and results to agitate the mind. And this is a great analogy. As the mind agitates a boat, which has no resting place. So, you know, like a boat on a lake, and then the wind is blowing it, and it's just going to go everywhere. It's got no anchor. And so that's what happens when you describe anything. Well, we'll make this like the sub thing of the channel, right?
Yeah.
This particular verse. Separately. Yeah. So Alien Identities. This is this book here. Written by Richard Thompson. Let's go to richardthompson.com. Sadaputta Das, disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Ancient Insights into Modern UFO Phenomena. And actually, his original title for it was Parallels. The forward is by Whitley Strieber. He has a movie that is like, we watched it back in the 90s at the loft. ETs and alien visitors. Who are they? Where do they come from? What can we expect from them? Here it is, see? Publisher's note, Alien Identities, Ancient Insights into Modern UFO Phenomena is the title of the initial 1993 publication, 1995 second edition. There is now a new edition, Parallels, which uses the author's original choice for the title, because what he wanted to show is parallels between modern UFO phenomenon sightings reports and ancient Vedic accounts. This was the second book I ever bought. The first book, Krishna conscious books, the first book was the Bhagavad Gita. Second book was Alien Identities. So I showed up at the loft early, and I was like, they had a crate of books, and I was just flipping through them, and I saw this one, Alien Identities. I was all about it, because I'd read heaps of books about that kind of stuff when I was younger, in my childhood and teens. And I read through this, and he mentions in there so many times the Bhagavat Purana, the Bhagavat Purana, the Bhagavat Purana, that I was like, I got to get this book next, the Bhagavat Purana. I got to go to the source. So I go to the devotee there, and I say to her, hey, the next book I need to get is the Bhagavat Purana. Do you guys have that here? And she's like, yeah, we've got that. I'm like, okay, great. That's the one I need to get next.
Wow.
And then she's like, okay, and doesn't do anything. And I'm like, okay, well, after a little while, I'm like, well, can you go and get that book? That's the one that I want. Can you go and get it? And then she goes, and this is why she was hesitating. She goes, it's 18 volumes and it costs $650. But by that stage, I was so committed. I was like, sure, we'll go and get it, And then I might have paid it off, or I might have paid for it all just straight up. I don't know. Can't remember now, but I remember taking it home and putting it on my bookshelf. Yeah, this book is great.
Would be awesome to read that.
We can, if you like. I've got it.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Where? Here?
No, in the ephemeral world of the ebooks,
Oh, the ebooks.
Yeah, I have it as an ebook.
Okay, that would be awesome.
Yeah, so there are according to this, there are various alien races, but you're not going to see them showing up, a thing fell in our backyard. That's faked alien invasion stuff, man. They're already running the show, and they're advising people on how to do it's not even a real disclosure. What they're doing is they're using this as a way of bewildering humanity even more. Conspiracy. I should make a tinfoil hat to wear in this, right?
We should.
Different times. Okay, we got Paul Seils dialing in, so we're gonna switch gears here and bring him onto the stream. Welcome, Paul Seils Jr. How are you, mate?
Hi guys, how you doing? Good to be with you. Doing good.
Yeah, great.
All things considered, doing great.
Yeah, we should put our earpieces in, because otherwise we're going to get your voice coming back through the microphone.
It's good to be with you.
Connected. Okay, can you give us some sound, Paul?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. Sounds great.
That's great.
Yeah, sounds awesome. Thanks for calling in. We've just been talking about aliens and the latest alien news. Don't know if had you seen that news about the Las Vegas?
I haven't seen
UFO
anything
crash?
at all. I've been waiting for it nearly every day so far. So yeah, it's like the meme. Hurry up, we're on next.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let me see if I can find that meme. Right. Hurry up.
I'll send it
and
to
then
you.
I can pull it into the screen. Oh yeah, you've got it on speed dial, right?
I'll probably have it there somewhere.
Yeah.
I was going to post it actually, which was super interesting. But yeah, hurry up, we're next. There you go. So that's super interesting. I'm curious to know more info. I don't know anything about it at all yet, but the concept was next on the narrative.
Yeah, there's really no it's kind of like a no-brainer, for us, that we're waiting for them to roll that out of the out of the wings.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing as well. This is like the fake alien invasion, but I've had the pleasure of doing interviews with other people, including David Icke recently, and he's saying they're already here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to do another episode on Vaishnava Voices about space is fake. the fake moon landings, the whole thing, you know. We all know that they're already here. They've been here all along, and they come from inside the flat, hollow Earth,
Right.
or
I'm
under
not sure
the
where
water,
they come from,
something like that.
If you look at some of the leaders in the world at the moment, none of them are intelligent enough to be able to pull this sort of sophistication off. So,
yeah,
it's
massively incompetent, advised by AIs and aliens, whatever they might be.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get this on the screen. This oh my god, right next guys thing. I think I can. Let me see if I can present. A window. Yeah, let's see if this does it. How does this work? This is great. Okay, I'm learning how to do new things with StreamYard. So there you go. Oh my god, we're up next, you guys. They're nervous about coming on.
Yeah.
But the other thing we wanted to talk with you about. Yeah, we wanted to talk with you today, Paul, about Dr. Rashid Buttar, the famous conspiracy theorist and anti-vaxxer, who's also done something about osteopathy, according to Wikipedia. That's what Wikipedia had to say about him.
Yeah.
Let me just remove that one. I'm going to bring up a picture here. Hang on. How do I remove this? Stop that screen. Present another screen. Share the screen. And then a window. And then we're going to choose this one. Pull it in. So here's a picture of you with Dr. Rashid Buttar. So that's you at the back on the right.
Yeah.
And Dr. Buttar on the front at the left. Who are the other two people at the table there?
That's his partner that was with him as well. Her name's escaped my mind. And also Michael Proper from the Clear organization for encrypted mobile phones, etc.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
And so when and where was this photo taken?
Yeah, it was taken towards the end of, I think it was November, December 2021 in Utah. So I was very fortunate enough to be able to perform and speak on the stages that other people like Dr. Rashid Buttar were there in Salt Lake City, and Dr. David Martin and Dr. Peter McCulloch and those guys. So there was this little guy from Australia coming over and having a conversation and talking about, give me liberty or give me death.
Okay.
And, and then I got to perform as well. So it's as fate and divinity would have it, I got to spend several hours with him that evening and having conversations about like his life and what he'd been dealing with and all the hardship and difficulties he'd been through with the medical organization and his challenges with business and being shut down and his personal journey and challenges around like his own being confronted and mental health and that sort of thing as well. So it was beautiful to be able to spend some time with him as well. And I think to a certain degree I'm still in shock about the fact that the news of his passing, and also that none of it has been reported on by the mainstream media at all. I haven't been able to find any, and that happened on about the 18th of May. So
23 May, according to Wikipedia. Like when we tried to look it up, we found out from Wikipedia that it was the 23rd.
Interesting.
Let me see if there's anything in Wikipedia about his death.
I got the news on or about the 18th of, probably the 19th in Australia.
Oh, no. I take that back. I don't know why I said May 23. Did I say May 20? I'm going to go back and look at the stream again. We could be in an announcement. What is it called? The Mandela effect. In a parallel universe.
That's right.
Yeah, where he died on the May the 18th. No, it says May 18th. But it says, I know where I got it from, May 2023. That's where I got it from. It says, in May 2023, reports circulated online attributed to his family, stating that Buttar had died on May 18. On May 23, his office confirmed his death. So that's where I got it from. Okay. did he fake his death? Is he with Elvis and Adolf somewhere?
Well, I'd like to think so, and some of us would like to think it, but I think he's probably actually on the other side. He did report publicly in the videos in the months prior to this date that he was suspicious to the fact that he was being poisoned. So
it seems so strange to me, Paul, you know?
Yeah.
Like, why would they poison him in a way where, you know, it's like, why wouldn't they, you know, like, didn't we see something about a guy who was like, he hung himself and shot himself in the chest and there was no gun there? Wasn't that a recent one? Didn't Epstein hang himself with a bed sheet from his doorknob or something? I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, I mean, do they need to do it in that way? You know, when they want to get it done, you know, I mean,
well,
yeah,
this is the interesting thing as well. Because I got to tour Australia and I spoke at some events called the Freedom Summits back in 2014, and with a gentleman by the name of Ian R. Crane, who was subsequently passed now as well, and he talked about the fact about entering these times with a certain degree of prophecy, talking about how they're becoming so brazen. Like these Luciferians are pretty much what they're doing is what he was referring to as the term of decloaking. And if we're looking at these people and entities in form, that they're so brazen that they will just sort of do things, and then, you know, and I think that was probably the thing that sort of surprised me as well, was the fact that, you know, it's sort of so brazen, and then the mainstream media didn't report it at all, you know, or some of the people that did even tweet about it, rather than acknowledging his contribution as far as being a doctor is concerned, or his prior military service and his accomplishments, even in passing referring to him as basically like a crazy anti-vaxxer, and also the CNN interview that he did as well, where they just basically you know, berated him. But the thing that's really interesting about it is that I'm sort of, you know, how fate would have it that, or the divinity would like have us be at a certain place and certain time for a synchronicity for me to be able to spend some time with him. And thankfully, to Michael Proper, that like had me extended his invitation to join them. The recent video, that one of the last videos that he posted in the couple of weeks before his passing, he was talking about his concerns about hemorrhagic fever. And this is the thing as well. I mean, given that I'm not a doctor, but then again, neither is Bill Gates, right? So in relation to that, he was saying,
doesn't he have like an honorary degree or something, Bill Gates? I'm joking. I've got no idea. But
on what basis do you receive one of those?
Yeah, from a cornflakes packet.
Yeah. That's right. Well, pay enough money and we'll give you a doctorate.
Yeah, exactly. He bought the university.
Yeah, make enough contributions to our charity and you'll get a doctorate. We'll send it to you in the post. Yeah.
But sorry, you're saying you're not a doctor, and you said you started off with your disclaimer. I am not a doctor. You know, seek medical advice from your doctor and the World Health Organization, and check with your fact checkers for the actual authorized truth. Yeah, but you were going to say?
Yeah, that's it. And I was saying that one of the interesting things about the conversations, or the video that he put out, he was talking about the second wave and how people like Bill Gates have referred to the second wave. And there's a video, hopefully you can post the link for the video where he put it out. It's only available on Rumble. You can't get it on any of the mainstream.
So yeah, we're not going to play it in this stream then, because I got a strike the other day.
Right. Okay.
On the channel, and so I moved the video that got taken down and put it onto Rumble. So it seems like you can put things on Rumble that will get you banned on other platforms.
Yeah, Rumble and
okay, I'm going to drop the link in and let's roll the dice.
Yeah, and he was effectively talking about the next stage. So I think the link will be fine. It's just playing the content. So he was he was basically speaking into what his concern about the second wave was, and but like, I'm not a doctor, but I do know people that are doctors. But he was talking about the fact, the concern about the second wave will potentially be in relation to the reaction of vaccinated people with electromagnetic radiation or some sort of trigger for interaction.
This has been a long-standing conspiracy theory, right? And when we say conspiracy theory, we're talking about like people's hypothetical projections about the future. They're hypothetical models that people use to make predictions about what's going to happen. You know, like even what was that event 201 that happened, you know, just before COVID hit? Well, it's a hypothetical scenario involving multiple people projecting what might happen in the future. It's a conspiracy theory. And it turned out that the conspiracy theory that they developed at Event 201 mapped really well to what happened in the world straight afterwards. So sometimes conspiracy theories are accurate and useful about predicting the future, but they're all hypothetical scenarios, right? Like you can go to ChatGPT-4 and ask it, you know, to tell you about, you know, reaction of 5G with vaccinations or particular injections, right? And it will tell you,
or particularly in relation to reaction to graphene oxide, etc.
Yeah, but ChatGPT-4 will tell you that, you know, I can't, you know, medical misinformation or dangerous, because they talk about creating AIs and making sure the AI is not dangerous. So if you went to ChatGPT-4, for example, and said, make me a conspiracy theory, it will say, well, I can't make conspiracy theories because, you know, that would be irresponsible of me. But if you tell ChatGPT-4, I'm writing a science fiction book, and I want you to help me out by writing a near future science fiction scenario in which people get injected with some nanotechnology and then electromagnetic signals are used to control them, it'll go for its life, you know? And then you just say, make the main protagonist name Bill Gates, you know? And then the next thing, you've kind of circumvented the AI's programming that it can't tell you about that stuff. But this is basically a hypothetical near future scenario, right? About people being injected with, I don't know what, you know, what do they call it? That nano graphene oxide or something, nanoparticles of some description, and then that they can be remotely activated.
Graphene oxide.
I remember you and I talking about this 2 years ago, Paul.
Yeah, probably even longer.
And so
now.
you're saying that, yeah, it's like, so it's been it's the Titanic crashing into the iceberg in slow motion.
Well, it's
right?
just very, yeah, and it's super interesting as well for a number of reasons, apart from the fact that he died a couple of weeks after it was announced. But at the following weekend, he was due to announce this information at the conference that he was speaking.
Oh, Paul,
to like thousands of people.
Come on, it's exactly, isn't it? So I don't know. It's like, you know, where do you stop? People accuse me of being a member of the Illuminati recently. They found some photograph of me where I said I shot 333 arrows. You know how I was shooting for, I've done like 1,500 so far, but I'm on a goal to shoot 10,000 arrows from my bow because it takes 10,000 to be good at anything. Well, on one particular day, I'd reached 333 along the way and posted that on Instagram. I've shot 333 arrows so far, et cetera, You know, anyway, someone reposts it and says, he shot 333 arrows. What's 333 times 2? You know, they have to announce themselves, and it's by by symbolism will be their downfall. And I'm like, you know, like, is Rashid Buttar some kind of controlled asset, you know, used to disseminate these ideas or defuse them?
Well, he's highly committed if it means dying for it.
Well, I mean, he's just disappeared, you know?
Yeah. Disappeared.
I mean, let's go. What about the immortals? You know, that there's a conspiracy theory they recycle these people, that they're long lived, you know? And like, you know, Bruno Mars is actually Michael Jackson, just recycled. Taylor Swift is Elvis or something. Yeah, anyway. Yeah. But then you'd probably have to be in on it too, because there's a picture of you with him at the table, right?
That's right.
And then I would have to be in on it too, because, so, you know, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, is it me? Am I secretly a reptilian? And then I'm like,
do you have any sense of temptation when like flies fly past your face?
Go past?
To, like,
yeah, exactly.
All the
just
time.
like pops out.
Yeah, I know. When someone accuses me of being a member of the Illuminati, I'm like, dude, if you don't suspect yourself of being a member, can you even call yourself a conspiracy theorist?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he disappeared, mysteriously 1 week before he was going to make the big announcement about this at the thing, that he shot the video and sent it out for people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Talking
So
about
there's
this
the link.
idea.
There's the link there that you've posted as well, that you hopefully put in the description here also.
Yeah,
but
we'll get it in the description.
If you look at the series of events in relation to him making that announcement, of drawing the analogy and the parallels with that happening moving forward, and then look, it's been announced by and reported by multiple people, including Gates, about the second wave.
Yeah.
And
so
perhaps what we've been through has already just been the beta test to see how the response will work. And it has been documented in other, journals and referenced in relation to Deagle.com and that sort of thing, where these people that are eugenicists like Bill Gates,
you remember that
are
Deagle.com.
actually Deagle.com. Yeah, they think they're actually doing humanity a favor, and they think that the planet's overpopulated and we're just like useless eaters consuming all the resources, and they want it all for themselves. And it's all part of the digital reset for the economy.
Yeah, so an interesting scientific point here. When a science guy hat on, take the tinfoil hat off. I don't know what does a science hat look like? It's not a pointy white one.
No, it's a
pointy
pot.
black
There's
one.
a pot on your head.
A pot.
Mm.
The thing is that the way this rollout of this medical intervention has been done, by mandating it and making everyone take it like that, you've actually gotten rid of any kind of scientific ability to have a control group. So, like let's say that something does come in the future, and there's so many videos of Bill Gates, with his duper's delight smile, laughing about, haha, the second one's really going to get people's attention,
Yeah.
that one's really looking at his partner and they're like giggling about it. So the thing about that is that, it's like, it's impossible now to trace out the causality of it. Like even the Dark Horse podcast, they're really, you could say they're pushing the envelope. The other one, I prefer to think of it as educating the dance floor about this. They're talking about the iatrogenic mortality during the pandemic and how that contributed to the statistics. Is it called iatrogenic? ¿Lo conoces?
I'm not sure.
Iatrogenic?
No, but I want this.
Are you referencing some of the data that was in the Great Awakening documentary that's just been released in the last couple of weeks?
No, I doubt it. Iatrogenic. It might have been, but this word iatrogenic. So iatrogenic conditions, Wikipedia, need not result from medical errors such as mistakes made in surgery or the prescription or dispensing of the wrong therapy, such as a drug. In fact, intrinsic and sometimes adverse effects of a medical treatment are iatrogenic. So iatrogenic it means death by medical misadventure, basically. And it's actually one of the leading causes of death in the United States. It's like in the top 5 easily. Could be even in the top 3. So, it's like it means death from medical misadventure. So what they're talking about there is they're talking about like the wrong application of the wrong treatment protocol, or not applying the right treatment protocol, contributing to people dying and boosting the the risk and fatality rate of reported in statistics. So they're starting to report on that there. So, it's like, how do you eliminate confounding factors? Because all kinds of narratives are a conspiracy theory of some kind about, what causes something. Conspiracy theories are causal narratives, right?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, what is the subjective definition of conspiracy theory, given apart from the fact that it's sort of term that's used to dismiss critical thinking.
Well, today it just means like a it means something that's not what they're telling you on the television and in the newspaper. That's basically what it means now. You know, any causal narrative that's not the official one that they tell you on the TV.
Okay. So
people have been propagandized so hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's highly efficient technology they're using.
It is. But to go back to that point, because I'm wrapping it with like a million disclaimers, you know, so that I don't get like a medical misadventure, medical misinformation strike, right?
Okay.
But like medical misadventure is a real thing. And so my point here is that the way that the medical intervention used during the pandemic, and which we were told was this is the solution to the pandemic, has been done in such a way that if there was a future medical misadventure that was a side effect or a consequence of that, just like, you know, they gave pregnant women thalidomide for so many years and it caused birth defects, but they were eventually able to pin the thalidomide as the cause of the birth defects. This thing has been done in such a way that it will be very difficult to pin any subsequent effects on the intervention itself. You know, like, you know, there could be a second wave, and you know, regardless of what the cause of it is, it's going to be very difficult to be able to scientifically pin it causally on injections.
Yeah, this is interesting, right? So what you're saying is that the old story is that, you know, truth goes through 4 stages. And so what you're saying is, in effect, that even the concept of women that were taking morning sickness tablets caused thalidomide, which is obviously the loss of limbs and that sort of thing in babies, would have actually, when someone actually would have communicated that originally, they would have been dismissed as conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, another good example of that is like, you know how English sailors used to get scurvy? And so some guy actually came up with that lemon juice was the cure for that. But then it got discounted, and it went on for like another 80 years until they figured it out again. But some guy figured it out 80 years before. Same thing with thalidomide. Like they actually, it was only used in British Commonwealth countries. It got stopped in the United States. When you talk to people in the US about thalidomide, they've never heard of it. And that's because apparently the FDA, head of the FDA at the time was a woman, and she was just like, this is insufficiently tested for us to give it to pregnant women. And so they didn't allow it in the US. So it was never prescribed to pregnant women in the US, only in the UK, Australia, New Zealand, maybe Canada.
Wow. Sorry, I should say the correction is 3 stages of truth.
Okay.
Yeah,
the
3
first
stages
one
of
is
truth. All truth passes through 3 stages. First, it is ridiculed.
Right.
Second, it is violently opposed. And then third is accepted as being self-evident. It's like, of course it caused thalidomide in babies. How could you not figure that out?
Thalidomide is the
how many children
actual
actually had to get
compound.
born with thalidomide before people worked it out that it caused it.
Well, thalidomide is the name of the actual drug.
Correct. I'm not sure what the brand of the product would have been called.
Yeah, something else.
No, I think thalidomide. Well, let me check it. Yeah.
Fact checking live on the stream. Share the screen. Iatrogenesis.
Thalidomide. When was thalidomide banned in Australia? Let's have a look. 1962. The government finally bans the sale of thalidomide. At the time of its ban, stocks of thalidomide and related products were being held in storage in Armington, New South Wales, totaling over 8 million tablets.
Yeah, so not safe and not effective, that particular one. Might have been effective, but it wasn't safe, definitely. Had adverse side effects that were discovered later, and so the birth defects caused in the children would be an iatrogenic effect. It's caused by a medicine, you know. So medicines have unintended consequences. On the Dark Horse podcast, they were talking about how, you know, the massive administration of the injections was a beta test. But my point here is that by doing the massive administration like this, when the second wave comes, as if, you know, if let's say Bill Gates is correct in his, you know, the second one will get their attention. It's going to be, I know the guy's on the money. So, you know, let's chuck $100 on Bill Gates, you know, to win. And that the second one comes, it's like, how would you determine whether it was some kind of iatrogenic side effect of everyone or like large numbers of people having taken this medicine versus some other narrative that they tell you in the news, like, you know, another, I don't know, Ozzy Osbourne biting the head off a bat live on stage, and who knows, you know, Alice Cooper, you know, like I saw Russell Brand. He's got a comedy show at the moment called Brandemic. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, there's a great one, him talking about wet markets, you know, like how the wet market explanation versus the Wuhan Institute of Virology, and it's very colorful. He's an entertaining guy.
Yeah.
But, you know, those are conspiracy theories. The wet market is a conspiracy theory. It's a causal narrative. The Wuhan Institute of Virology is another conspiracy theory. Here's another conspiracy theory for you, another causal narrative. This one comes from Prahlad Nandaswamy. He says that, you know, regardless of the intermediate causes of this, and there are many intermediate causes or positive intermediate causes we can point to, and those things occupy people's intelligence and speaking and listening for days, weeks, months, years, right? But he said ultimately it's caused by people performing sinful activities that have negative karmic consequences and then having to suffer the karma from that. So it's karma coming back around. And it's like, well, what are people getting karma for? And Prahlad Nandaswamy said it's from cow killing. Because Western civilization has become based on killing cows, which in multiple scriptures around the world is forbidden. Like even in the Old Testament, it says, he that slew an ox is as if he slew a man. That world wars happen, pandemics happen, and then nefarious kind of activities, you know, happen that, you know, because the world wars, you know, were they even real, you know? Like, you know, we got like, it's all nefarious activity.
Well, this is interesting as well. I mean, to look at that concept as well, which is, you know, being open to it. But I'm sure there would be vegans and vegetarians who have received that treatment as well, and that may have had an adverse reaction, including death. And how is it their karma, though?
Well, that's because, you know, the idea of karma, also involves reincarnation.
Previous times they've been.
So it's speeding up the process for them. They get the express lane.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, karma, what goes around comes around. And that takes you to simulation theory, you know, that the universe is like a big simulator that we're inside.
Yeah.
You know, what even is this thing? But I can totally get how, you know, Dr. Buttar's disappearance, whatever it is, you know, was he poisoned? Did he die of natural causes? Is he even dead? You know, is he like with Elvis and Adolf on the dark side of the moon in the Arctic, in the UFO base, you know, with the dinosaurs? Wherever he may be, you know, I can see how it would have, you know, given your personal connection with him and having spent time with him, and having been so involved in, you know, examining the narrative and what's happening and educating yourself and other people about it, that would have quite an effect on you.
Yeah, it's definitely had an impact. And then yeah, I think I sort of was shocked and sort of disbelief. So I've run all those scenarios in my mind as well. But I mean, the old saying is that in relation to looking at things is normally about like not just like follow the money, but okay, well, if something's happened to him, you know, what is it that someone's about to expose that's really worth going to the amount of trouble to removing someone physically?
Okay, so
it's
this
like
is
the old
like,
saying is where there's smoke, there's fire.
yeah, so this is like, you know, first of all, we pretend that the universe is real. Then we pretend, you know, that like everything we experience through our senses, we're just going to pretend that that's real as well for the sake of argument's sake. And then, you know, we hypothetically accept that Rashid Buttar is exactly who he says he is, and like everything that you encountered, you know, and you've said about your personal encounter with him, and everything we see on the screen is also kind of real, and that you know, he really was a week away from announcing the thing, and then he was suddenly taken out.
Yeah.
I mean, like in that narrative there, one thing that would need to be explained is how come he says he's being poisoned, but then he suddenly dies? I mean, it's like, what kind of poison was that? Like the Russians, they did like a thing with the they used to do the poisoned umbrella tip or something, right? Or the I don't know, the pellet shooting fountain pen or something. You know, with the radioactive slip the radioactive pellet into the tea. Like it was some radioactive isotope that only the Soviets used to kill people. Like, didn't a guy die from that in London like last year or the year before? Like
I'm
a
not
former
sure.
Soviet spy. Yeah. Anyway, they had some particular way they did it. Yeah, like it's kind of like poisoning that takes how long? How long did it take?
I'm not
Any
sure.
idea?
Like, it would have been like a couple of months.
See, that's the thing. It's like, here's this thing that he's going to do next week, but then they do this thing that takes months to do it, but they can time it precisely to get it the week before. I'm like, oh, dude, weak plot writing, you know, script writing. Guys, if they brought me that script, I'd be, guys, we need to tighten this up. It's a plot hole, you know?
Yeah.
Too much suspended disbelief for the nerds these days. They're going to analyze this movie to the ground in their reaction YouTube videos.
Well, it's interesting because we're sort of talking about things that have happened from the past, and it's easy to look backwards at things that perhaps we could have been told that hypothetically could be explained, or what people would disregard as conspiracy theory. But here, what we're talking about, it's conspiracy theories are normally things that are labeled for things that have happened to the past, and then they're the unofficial version of the narrative about what happened. But we're actually talking about a hypothetical conspiracy theory, which is into the future, which is even something that's next level. And I think, you know, if you start seeing the patterns or the behavior, or next thing the mainstream media starts reporting on things like Marburg virus, which is also another name for hemorrhagic fever.
Right, it's like an Ebola type thing, right?
Yeah, you can see the probability, and like what the research that I've done on hemorrhagic fever is like it shows up as like internal bleeding, like the cells explode internally.
Yeah, they rupture.
Yeah, and causes internal bleeding. So it's going to be interesting to see what sort of plays out, but we will see the patterns as they start to emerge.
I like this, and the reason why I like this is because I think it's going to get the job done, and we're going to have the planet to ourselves when this is finished, brother. No. The reason I like it is because it has a symmetry to it, and that is that this idea of like a binary explosive, a binary, to the combination of two things together, and that makes these things very difficult for non-conspiracy minded humans to detect. It's the combination of two different things together. Like in a near future science fiction scenario where you manage to inject, you know, a few people. Sorry, you want to say something?
I think he got frozen.
Inject. Sorry, I got up to inject.
Oh yeah. Well, you want to inject either, you know. Yeah, so we got a lag. That's cool. So you either want to inject your, you know, single Soviet, you know, ex-Soviet diplomat in London, or a large group of people with some poison, but the poison that you inject them with doesn't immediately just start acting. It requires another trigger to make it act, and then it mimics some other, like some other thing that is plausibly deniable. Like in, I think it was Alfred Hitchcock or Agatha Christie, there was always, the death by the insulin injection, like the insulin overdose, which causes the blood sugar to go so low that the brain stops, and then they go into a seizure, and people don't really know what to do. So that was one. I read another one actually it was a short story. This guy's on the beach with this lady. You're gonna love this one. Don't get any ideas from this though. But he's a hemophiliac, right? So hemophiliac means that you're missing this blood clotting enzyme. Your body doesn't produce it, and so if you start bleeding, you can bleed out real quick. So he's laying on the beach on a towel, and they've gone for a long kind of romantic walk to a remote kind of location. He's like, thinking this is great, and he's laying there. The sun's hot and everything. He feels himself sweating, and she's just like kind of gently, drawing on his back. You can't see me, but I'm like going like this on Donna's back like this. So gently drawing on his back like this, and he's feeling it. The sun's nice and warm and everything, and he's kind of like feels like he's sweating, and it's all nice and everything. And then she kind of gets up and like leaves, and then he's like, what's going on? Or maybe he falls asleep, or I'm not sure. But anyway, he realizes that what's happened is she's actually been slicing his back with a shell, and he's not sweating, he's bleeding. And by the time he realizes what's happening, he's lost so much blood that he can't go all the way back to get to the car, to the top of the cliff, or find anyone to help him or anything. And then he's going to bleed out, And so it was like I don't know what you'd call that. Anyway, an interesting short story about a guy getting murdered on the beach. So there's lots of different creative kind of ways that people can come up with
Sounds
to
like
do
Tales
it, right?
from the Crypt.
Yeah, exactly, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the tricky thing about this one is it's difficult to falsify this one, isn't it? Because it could be just like Bill Gates accurately predicted so many years ago that it would be, that there was going to be a global pandemic, and it was inevitable, and that there was going to be a second wave that was going to be more intense than the first, and whatever they're telling us on the TV is the probable cause of it, and whatever they're prepping us for now actually is the thing. Because the way that the medical intervention has been done is that it's been done in such a way that there's no control group, and there's no interest in having a control group in order to be able to eliminate that as the cause of it. It's very unfortunate or fortunate. It's coincidental that it's happened this way, isn't it? Very strange.
Well, shouldn't that even be alarmist within itself? Shouldn't even that be alarmist within itself?
Well, I mean, I'd just say that's the way that I'd do it if I was personally, if I was like a philanthropic billionaire, evil, villain type, being advised by, hidden alien races and artificial intelligence, of course. It's the old, scratch the back with the seashells on the remote beach, isn't it? So, what can people do about this? Is there anything that can be done? Chant Hare Krishna.
Well, I think alerting people to the possibility of that, and if the hemorrhagic fever is the thing, / Marburg virus, is that people need to be able to find the antidote before it starts to occur as a preventative. That's the thing.
What are we talking here? Are we talking vitamin D, sunlight, vitamin C? Just the zinc, the previous stack that everyone was recommending?
In the inquiry of it at the moment, but I've just sent you the link for the Marburg hemorrhagic fever link from the World Health Organization, which the irony is that there's answers there if you sort of look for it, but they talk about a lot more detail. I'm sure there has to be an antidote that's in place to be able to treat that, and I think that's to be in the discovery of, not from a place of fear, but just to be able to preempt it.
I have a question about that.
It's just interesting to watch what happened with like hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin and that sort of thing, about them being suppressed.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's an interesting one. Yeah, I wonder, was that a Psyops? They're so tricky, you know? If we're talking about it as a Psyop, I mean, was that a real thing, or was that just a red herring, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
No idea.
Well, the interesting thing was it was suppressed in Australia, but I mean, I got pneumonia when I was in the US and ended up testing positive for COVID because I had to get a PCR test to leave the US to get back into Australia.
Oh, I remember that. That was horrible, man.
Yeah. And there was, in the US, it's really expensive, but hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin were freely available.
So you were in the US and you were going to fly back to Australia, but you got COVID, right?
Yeah, so I got from the heat of Mexico.
No, you got pneumonia.
I got pneumonia. I got pneumonia from the heat of Mexico to the cold winter in Tennessee, and got pneumonia really bad, and subsequently ended up testing positive for COVID with a PCR test, which I ended up learning subsequently. If you could test. You could test positive for up to like 60 different things with a PCR test and still test COVID positive.
Okay. So the pneumonia could have caused a false positive, because false positives, of course, are just a fact of life with any test. There's a certain rate and certain things that can cause it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which was interesting at the time.
I'm not speaking any kind of heresy, like saying that they're not safe and effective. I was thinking about this today, actually. Anything is as safe as it is, and it is as effective as it is. Nothing is safe and effective. It's like, how safe is it? What things about it are unsafe? In what circumstances is the safety at what level? You know, and effective, like how effective is it at what? There's no such thing that it's like, it's safe and effective. Well,
it's safe and effective for the manufacturers.
In that case, you're correct. It is safe.
They didn't say for who. They didn't say for who.
Rates is at 110%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, interesting. So that was what Rashid Buttar. This is Rashid Buttar. He's in Wikipedia, so he's probably real. There's a photo of you with him, and there's a conspiracy theory about how he died and what it was all about. Like the John F. Kennedy, who was what it was with John F. Kennedy, he was going to change to the silver dollar or something, and then, or he was going to reveal the existence of the aliens or something, and that's what was the whole
there's
thing.
A few things. He was, he was going to return it to the gold standard, and then also he was going to withdraw the troops from Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
a bunch of different things. There was an Australian prime minister who went swimming in the beach one day and then just never came back. Yeah, I just find that hilarious. That's the thing, People are like, he went swimming and he just got lost. It's like, it's like there's no need to create a complex poisoning kind of story or anything. That's why I think I look at that and just go, plot device? Is it a plot device? Because, why didn't they just have him go swimming and not come back, I mean, they hang himself from, I don't know. Yeah. So it's all the world, the whole world is a stage, and all the men and women are merely players,
Yeah, maybe he got abducted by the aliens.
Well, there was all sorts of conspiracy theories from back then. I think that was in the 1960s that he was, picked up by a submarine and all sorts of stuff that happened way back then.
Oh, Harold Holt, and returned to Soviet Russia or something, or taken to the Middle Earth, to the secret base.
Yeah, so it's interesting. But time will tell. I'm expecting start to see. I have developed, particularly over the last 10 years, an innate ability to be able to recognize patterns, and I would strongly suggest that sort of what's happened to date has perhaps been the beta test for what's happening and how people respond and what the updates and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
how they've been adopted.
I think as far as the second wave goes, Bill Gates has predicted it. It's highly likely. If a once in a whatever pandemic, can suddenly appear from Ozzy Osbourne biting the head off a bat, then, the second one, could just happen at any time. It's a new world, right? And it's like, these are the new rules of the game, and the new kind of plot that we're in. So for whatever the cause is, the second one's likely to be coming. Invest your money accordingly and prepare for the likely flow-on effects of that. Like we saw flow-on economic and socio-political effects from the first one. So the second one is likely to have similar ones, Like we've it's like growing food, getting to the land, that kind of thing for us and for a number of others, and preparing.
Yeah. Well, it's not just that. It's also what's the flow-on effects, because I coach people around this as well, and having a strategy in place for moving forward. But like, what's going to be the impact? Because a lot of the countries now are going into negative population growth.
Yeah.
At the moment. So what like looking at that, like what's the impact of that going to be on countries and on economies and property and real estate and all those sort of things?
Yeah. Let's do the gold bug grifting thing, as Tim Mowat calls it. How can people get in touch with you if they want to get coaching around that?
Yeah, via my website, which is Paul Seils, Seils, so paulseils.com.
Hang on, let me put it up in the chat and record into the thing.
Yeah. So we work with clients in that regard about getting strategy moving forward, also in relation to what's happening with the central bank digital currency rollout and that sort of thing that's happening as well. So it's just being able to preempt.
We'll get you back on to talk about that at some point.
Okay, sounds good.
paulseils.com. Boom.
Yes.
Put it into the chat, and then I'll bring it into the stream. Here it comes. There it is. Is that the right one?
That's it.
Okay.
Okay,
and then
wonderful.
for us, it's our amazing range of vitamin supplements. No, that's how Alex and others do their thing, right? It's like, here's the vitamin supplement, the one that you need that will make your immune system fortified and ready for the second wave. This one's called Crush the Second Wave with our zinc and vitamin D, vitamin C sunlight stack. We've bottled sunlight into the, Anything, what do you want to say to?
We should make a business out of it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fear is the great motivating seller, Any final comments?
No, just want to listen.
Okay. Hopefully we managed to wrap that in enough of, contextualizing narrative that, it's not going to get some kind of medical misinformation strike. I mean, there were no claims that were made in there. We're talking about hypothetical scenarios, possible futures.
No animals were harmed in the making of this podcast.
Yeah, consult your doctor and the World Health Organization for the official approved medical information that you should be following, and do your own research.
That's it. And follow your own intuition. This is the thing I want to say in closing as well, is that you made references earlier about what's happening with AI, and that's the thing, we don't know what's real or what's AI anymore, particularly as it sort of starts to compound and gets faster and faster. And I think that's the thing, is encouraging people to follow their own God-given connection to source and their own intuition, because at the end of the day, I think that's probably going to be the only thing that's going to help us navigate this period of time very successfully, is not to rely upon external factors and have people be as clean and clear as possible and connected to source and grounded, to be able to have a sense of knowing what the truth is for themselves. I think encouraging and empowering individuals to be able to work on developing that, so it's able to guide them through this transitionary period.
Yeah, okay. And then I'm going to ride out with this verse from the Bhagavatam that we started with. Type it in here so we can bring it in from the comments. Bhagavatam. It's 1:5:14. Yep. 1:5:14 it is. Pull it in. Yes, it all fits. Great. Whatever you desire to describe that is separate in vision from the Lord simply reacts with different forms, names, and results to agitate the mind as the wind agitates a boat which has no resting place, which is how all of this psychological operations and stuff is designed to just blow people back and forward and around on the lake. And it's like, as you say, having that connection to source that anchors you in a reality that makes you immovable. Yeah, thanks for coming on, Paul.
My pleasure. Good to be with you guys.
Shout outs to Dr. Rashid Buttar, wherever he is now.
Yeah. Thank
In
you for
loving
everything,
memory.
and hopefully guiding us from the other side.
Yeah. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah.
Go well.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Bye, Paul.
Much love. Bye.
Bye-bye.